Hi, my name is Ray Cabe, and I'm the head of operations here in GSI. I've been working with Guild for 4 years now, started in 2017. So as an operations lead, I ensure that day-to-day operations run smoothly for both staff and onshore managers. Usually, I have a brief catch-up with team members on how they are and how are they coping up with the current situation. And also, I'm doing some administrative functions to support the teams here in Manila. The teams that are reporting to myself is the quality team. I'm also indirectly managing claims and admin operations team, and with guilding some of the administrative functions. I had worked with different companies now, and I can say that Guild is the most humane company that I've ever been with. They see people as the treasure of the company and even extending great efforts to support people's welfare. Change is very constant, and we need to adapt to whatever is present. As I know that every staff is unique and has unique personality. When you have a bunch of these unique persons in your group, one leadership style wouldn't work out. So it's a combination of different styles that I learned from during the past few years. True introspection might be a bit hard, as it requires an acknowledgement of your own flaws and weaknesses. But through this, you'll know where and how to direct your energies. And as you know yourself better, you will have a clear idea of what is right or wrong. And because leaders will be seen as people of influence, whether it be on actions or words. Once they see a positive influence on you, then you're on the great start of being a leader.
Sinovac, AstraZeneca, Pfizer. Ano ba ang mga ito? Kailangan ba natin ng bakuna? Marami pong uri ng bakuna, pero ang pangunahing gawain nito ay ang turuan ng ating katawan na labanan ng sakit nang hindi tayo magkaroon ng malubhang karamdaman. Ibig sabihin, kapag nagkaroon tayo ng COVID-19, maaaring maging asymptomatic lamang o walang malalang epekto sa atin. Kapag walang bakuna, hindi alam ng katawan natin kung paano lalabanan ang COVID-19 at maaaring magdulot ng malalang karamdaman, lalo na't kung mayroon tayong comorbidities. Ang Sinovac ay gumawa ng bakuna gamit ang mga makaluma ngunit napatunayan ng paraan, kung saan pinawawalang bisa ang kakayahan ng virus na makapagdulot ng sakit. Sa pamamagitan nito, nagiging pamilyar sa ating mga white blood cells kung ano ang itsura at forma ng COVID-19 para kung sakaling magkaroon tayo nito, alam na ng ating katawan kung paano ito lalabanan. Ang AstraZeneca naman ay may ibang pamamaraan. Gumamit ito ng kaparehong virus galing sa ibang source. Sa isang parte ng virus ay may tinatawag na spike protein na nagiiwan ng impormasyon sa ating katawan para labanan ang naturang sakit. Ang spike protein na ito ay nakapaloob sa bakuna at sa ganitong paraan, natututo ding lumaban ang ating katawan sa COVID-19. Sa makatuwid, ginagaya ng AstraZeneca vaccine ang pagpasok ng COVID-19 sa ating katawan na hindi nagdudulot ng malubhang karamdaman. Ang bakuna naman gawa ng Pfizer ay isang mRNA na bakuna. Ang messenger RNA na bakuna ay hindi nagdadala ng kahit na anong anyo ng virus at ang tanging dala lamang nito ay mga mensahe o instruksyon upang turuan ang ating katawan na lumaban sa COVID-19. Alinman sa tatlong parang ito ng paggawa ng bakuna ay produkto ng maraming oras at panahon na pinagugulan ng libu-libong mga doktor at dalubhasa sa mikrobyo sa buong mundo.
Huwag po nating gawing katatawanan ang mga bakunang ito, lalo na ang sumali sa pagkakalat ng maling impormasyon tungkol dito. Ang mga bakunang ito ang susi upang magkaroon ng herd immunity ang ating bansa at muling makabangon ang ating ekonomiya, lalo na ang mga kababayan nating hirap nang makabangon dahil sa kawalan ng hanap buhay. Para sa iba pang impormasyon tungkol sa COVID-19 at sa coronavirus SARS-CoV-2, makipag-ugnayan sa DOH o sa inyong espesyalista.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enabling Media, enabling content through new media.
Hello and good day to all of you. Our viewers in Australia and Asia, good afternoon. And to our viewers in North America, good morning. My name is Lina Stedola and I'll be your host for today. 2 weeks ago, we sat down with Elizabeth Rem in the fourth episode of Thought Leaders, where she walked us through how can we change the system of recruitment bias and speaking up. As part of our celebration of Women's Month, you can catch the previous episode of the Thought Leaders on YouTube or stream on Spotify. For more learning sessions, job opportunities, and news about the company, please follow us on our official social media properties. Okay. This April, Guild Solutions Inc. is holding its annual GSI Conference, a week-long event where we host learning sessions for our staff. But today, we're doing it differently. With this year's theme, Expand Horizons, Expand Opportunities, we'll be featuring insightful talks on professional growth from speakers within and outside the organization. For 4 years, this is the first time we're opening our learning sessions to the public. Today, we will be speaking with Mr. Froilan Florendo of HR Network Philippines and discover how career trends change as a result of pandemic. This episode of GSI Conference is made possible by Guild Solutions Inc., Enabling Media, and HR Network Philippines. For our viewers in the Philippines, we will be flashing information on your screens on how to request for a certificate of attendance throughout this event. To avoid distractions and ensure maximum participations, the form will be made active at certain times of this event. So please watch out for announcements. I think we're seeing some activity on our social media. So let's greet some of our people present today. Good afternoon to you, Edenel Laurel. Hi, Edenel. And we also have Lyle Arian Ibasco Camposano. Good afternoon po, she said. And from Edison Butlig, and he is from CTHM University of Makati. So I think we have students now. From Edna Lapera Padua, Good afternoon, everyone. Um, Edna Padua Perez from Pangasinan State University, Bayambang Campus. Hello, Edna. So we have few students attending the seminar today. So I am pretty sure our guest speaker is getting excited as of this moment. John Vera, hello. Okay, so those are our greeters, and those are the one present who are with us now. So we are now transitioning to the main show. Again, you're watching GSI Conference.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enabling Media, enabling content through new media.
Hi, I'm Ian. Welcome to Guild Solutions. Guild Solutions is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Guild Group of companies based in Australia. Guild Solutions itself is headquartered in Manila and offers bespoke solutions for companies that require unique or have challenging business needs. How do we do this? Simple. We hire the best people, we foster the best culture, and we give those people a new and interesting challenge every day to allow them to grow and develop and move on to bigger and better things. And for our clients, what this means, we don't see problems, we only see solutions. We think differently and we're proactive, and most importantly, we make things happen. And all the while we do this while having lots of fun. So that's a really quick snapshot of Guild Solutions. It's been great meeting you, and I look forward to seeing you again.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enabling Media, enabling content through new media.
again to all of you. I am Lynn and welcome to GSI Conference. In today's session, we are going to look on how career trends in the Philippines have been in the past few months and year. Now let me introduce to you our speaker. Our speaker has been an HR practitioner for more than 25 years. His expertise covers basically all areas of human resources management function, which includes recruitment and employment, compensation and benefits, labor relations, performance management, policy formulation, and training. During his 25 years in practice, he has been exposed to various industries, giving him a very wide understanding of human resources management and development. Industries that has been exposed to are fast food, food processing, hospitality, service, and information technology. His mastery in the field of human resources management and development was honed through hands-on exposure, being immersed thoroughly in the various processes involved therein. He has rose from the ranks starting as a recruitment clerk and eventually assuming the country HR manager to one of the biggest software company in the world. After all the successes in the entirety of his career, he went into freelance consulting and eventually setting up his own management consultancy group catering to one of the most difficult industries, which is information technology. He is a board member of Philippine Association of Legitimate Service Contractors, or PALSCON. So without further ado, friends, let us all welcome the President and CEO of Network Philippines, Mr. Froilan Florendo.
Hello.
Hi, Sir Polly.
Hi, Lynn. Thank you very much. No? Good afternoon to everyone, and of course, good afternoon to all the people who are now actually online and watching this session. No? So I'm honored and excited to be part of this event. No? And of course, I'm very glad that I would be given the opportunity to share some of my understanding of what's happening right now in terms of career trends, especially now that the COVID is or the pandemic is in place. No?
Yes,
So yeah, so let me know where and when I can begin. No? I'm very much excited to share what I know, and hopefully all of the viewers will be able to appreciate what I will be sharing in terms of
surely.
my perspective, my perspective of what's in store for uh, their careers in terms of where they want to be, especially
Okay.
now that the crisis is still ongoing.
Mm. Yeah, for sure everybody's excited. So maybe you can take the floor now, Sir Polly. So uh, this will be a long and very interesting talk for sure. So take it away,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. Thank you. So here you go. So let me know, no, if the screen is there, if it's shared already. Can you see the screen? So I'm not sure if the screen is already up. Okay. Can anyone sound off if they're seeing the screen already? Just for me to make sure that while I'm talking, everybody gets to see and appreciate what I'm presenting.
Yes, we can see your screen, Sir Polly.
Okay, great. So let me begin with the title of this presentation. No? So we're going to be discussing career trends in the Philippines, how it was changed by the pandemic. No? So again, no, just to repeat what Lynn has earlier shared. No, I just like to, of course, share again a few information about myself. Well, number one, I've been in the human resource practice for more than 25 years, no, and up to now, I'm still doing such, no. So I also have been doing HR consultancy work for more than 20 years, no, and 25 years as a businessman engaged in third-party recruitment services, outsourced businesses, and of course, no, services in relation to IT, no. So currently, I am the president CEO of HR Network and also the President CEO of Polyserve Philippines. And also, I serve as a board of director and PRO for Philippine Association of Legitimate Service Contractors. So this is an organization of business owners engaged in, staffing business, no, manpower agency, most commonly known. No? Okay, just to give you a glimpse of the outline that I prepared for our participants now. So I have actually split this up into 5 areas. So first is we'll be discussing a view of the fourth industrial revolution, and then what are the job and skills demands, no? And the fourth industrial revolution, and of course information on jobs, professions, and industries, like the trends and statistics. And then uh, fourth part would be the COVID pandemic and its effects on career options. And finally, just a food for thought that I would be sharing to everyone, just to give them a glimpse of how they can move forward in terms of their chosen careers and how to be successful in those chosen careers. Okay, understanding the next economic wave. So here, I'm presenting to you a glimpse on. It's a summary of the four revolutions that has actually transpired for the past four or several centuries. No? During the first part, we have the first industrial revolution, which actually involved about mechanization, steam and power, and then followed by the second, which is actually focusing on mass production, and then the industry. The third, no, industrial revolution with automation, computers, which is actually the beginning of the technology advancement. No? And then thereafter, on the fourth, we are now actually encountering it, which is cyber physical systems and Internet of Things. No? So, during the 17th century, this is where it began. So, first industrial revolution lasted for the mid 18th century to about 1830 and was mostly confined to Britain. No? So it focused primarily on the use of water and steam power to mechanize production. So at that point in time, factories were being built, and the utilization of water and steam as a means, no, to generate power and operate factories in terms of whatever production that they have to do during that time. On the 18th century, this now evolved, no, into leading towards mass production, assembly lines requiring labor and electricity and energy. So it changed, no, from steam and power. Now they're utilizing electrical energy. No? So this is known as the technological revolution, and it was a phase of rapid standardization and industrialization from the late 19th century into the early 20th century. So it was a period when advances in steel production, electricity, and petroleum, was utilized, to somehow, make innovations of what has been started during the first revolution. So a little bit of advancement, so to speak. If you look at the first industrial revolution, dito yung this is where the trains actually started, and then there were, of course, activities where utilization of steam as a means, no, to generate power, and uh, utilize this for certain activities that would be towards production, no. And then followed by the second industrial revolution, where the production now focuses on a larger scale. So meaning to say, the emergence of, or the discovery of course, oil, diba? And then of course, when you talk of this industrialization, this is where uh, the use, no, of mass production activities, or the activities that would entail mass production happened, no. So the output now became larger as compared to the first revolution. Now, in the 19th century, which is the beginning of technology, this is where the automated production using electronics and IT has started. No? So I'm sure most of the participants here, especially the millennials, no, this is actually the time that we were actually have been exposed to. Maybe they have read something about the old ways of manufacturing or production, but right now the infusion of technology has emerged. So the automation has begun, and then of course this resulted to faster approach in terms of production, in terms of manufacturing, in terms of processes to enable the desired, products that we will process, no, or that we will produce, no. Two types, no, especially in this era and time, or during this third revolution or third industrial revolution. This is the time when the manufacturing or production processes has evolved, no? Because there are two types of manufacturing. You have the discrete and the process. And this the discrete is where you uh, produce, no, equipments that when you actually come up with the final product, when you reverse it, diba, the components that you've utilized are still the same. So through an automated approach, of course. So in the process, the output or the product becomes homogeneous in that sense. So this is where you produce uh, products that are actually fused together. But when you reverse engineer, the original components cannot be, of course, separated anymore because there is a process that has taken place. And these are typically the ones when you talk of food manufacturing or beverage or whatever, you may even pharma. No? So this is the time, no, in the 19th century. This is the beginning where technology has started to be put in place in terms of our production. Now, on the fourth industrial revolution, this is the way. This is a time wherein intelligent production was incorporated. This is when Internet of Things has happened. This is where advancement of technology in terms of cloud, software, big data has emerged. So it's kind of different now from the way we used to do it. So when you talk of the fourth industrial revolution, this is the time when advancement of technologies has emerged. You talk of machine to machine, you talk of big data, you talk of business intelligence, you talk of cognitive computing. So it's really really very different nowadays because before, everything uh, has somehow jumped from how it was done, no, in simpler ways, just a flick of a hand, no, there was still a human interface, no, but right now when we jump towards going towards the industrial revolution, it's all about controls, remote controls, artificial intelligence, robotics, etc. So if you look at it, now this is what the industrial or the fourth industrial revolution is all about. Now I am sharing to you the topology of the fourth industrial revolution. So if you look at it, everything now, no, is very, very non-invasive in terms of human interface. All is actually embedded in technology. So you talk of cybersecurity, you talk of cloud computing, you talk of mobile technologies. This has actually changed the lives of a lot of people. 90, probably about 98% of the entire population, no, of the entire world, no, is actually attached to their mobile phones. And that being said, no, this is actually a time where they are all using the benefits, no, of mobile technologies. Machine to machine, no, on the other hand. This is when one machine speaks to the other. Nowadays, you see LCD TVs, they talk to the internet, and then you see everything, no, it's just like attaching one machine to the next, and both machines will actually talk to each other. On 3D printing, of course, before we only use printing by way of paper, but right now in the advance of technology, we can actually create something through the use of 3D printing and make it lifelike. So very different, very different. This technology actually has changed a lot, no? And this has actually somehow helped in a lot of things. In particular, when you talk of creating identical products, no, by use of 3D printing, no. So you can now see a three-dimensional item by way of this 3D printing. Advanced robotics, on the other hand, no? So this is actually happening also, no, especially in production of this actually exists in semiconductor industries, no. So the robotics happen. So when you do production of say microchips or production of uh, what you call the motherboards for the computers that we use, no, the production uses advanced robotics. So if you look at this, the production would be around, say, when they assemble when the semicon assembles motherboards, it's actually a few seconds and then they build one. So the production is very massive. No? For big data analytics, so this is actually also now happening because big data analytics actually is the storage, no, of large or humongous data, which is actually utilized by our social media, uh, so to speak. No, you have Facebook, you have Twitter, Instagram. So these are this technology is utilized by these social media companies. No, so all the data, imagine the data that is being stored in this particular technology is very very huge. No, if you have seen the database of Facebook, no, it's actually in the size of an island. No, Internet of Things, on the other hand, no? So you see this happening all the time. Especially now that when you talk of connectivity, this is the one that is massively used right now because we all communicate by the usage of internet. No? So the connectivity is an aspect whereby we cannot live without it. You talk of RFID technologies, okay, the emergence of all these RFID IDs or RFID passes, no? Especially now when we have the skyways wherein we converted from the traditional toll, uh, what's this toll approach, no? When there is a barrier that you have to pay the cashier. But right now, the use of RFID, everything comes in a stride. Cognitive computing, again, this is a combination of AI. No, you're talking here of AI, no? Artificial and or artificial intelligence. So it's kind of different already. No, I've seen everything because I'm actually in my uh, late 50s, late 50s. No, so I've seen the evolution of from analog to digital, and the transition from how it was done before to how it is being done right now, it's entirely different. The flow of information is actually rapid. You see your messages coming in left and right. You talk of Viber, you talk of WhatsApp, whatever you may have. You have FB Messenger. Everybody is actually using it. So you talk of the situation right now as compared to several years back, especially during the time that I was still in my elementary days. That's very, very, uh, several years back. Before our mails, no, when you want to send a message via mail, it takes about 30 days for one snail mail to reach uh, the recipient. No, if you talk of crossing one country to the next, but in the days right now, it's just a click of a hand, and then you get everything all together and at the same time, and collectively you get to see all your mails, no, in probably 1 or 10 seconds. Okay, so more interesting now, no? Digital transformation. Where are we now, and where do we want to be? What are the job and skills demands for during this fourth industrial revolution? So this is just going to be a presentation or a summary of what are the demands right now in terms of the jobs, in terms of the skills, what are the available opportunities, no, that will be presented in terms of the fourth industrial revolution. So I've done my research. So I have actually indicated here, based on the research I have done, the links are there. I will share to you what are the job and skills demand. Some are relative, some are not, because when you talk of the technologies that we're using right now, it can be a combination of anything of all those I have presented earlier in terms of the topology of the fourth industrial revolution. For cybersecurity, the top 8 per my source, which is futurelearn.com. No? You have network engineer, you have information security, analyst, ethical hacker, cybersecurity consultant, digital forensic analyst, chief information security officer, security architect, security software. When we talk of cybersecurity, it aims leading towards protection of data, protection of not only the data, no, but protection of your network. No? So this is actually a technology that with protect. No, it gears towards security and protection. Nowadays we have data security, and I think this will play a lot of role. No? So on cloud computing, of course, during our earlier days, we call this as you know uh, application service provider. The ASP model is somehow relative to what you call cloud computing right now. We have cloud servers right now. In the past, probably around 10 years back, this is already starting, but they call it ASP. It's called the ASP model, wherein the services are actually off-site. So instead of course, having an on-premise arrangement in terms of a database, it is off-site. So that is what you call the ASP model. But right now, it evolved into becoming a cloud computing technology. No? So I have top 14. So just appreciate, maybe just do a snapshot, because I will not be able to, share everything one by one and say it one by one. So I suggest that you take note of all these things here. No? So there are top 14. My reference is actually techrepublic.com. So take a look at this and, take note. No? Where are you right now? Take note of it and see if you are actually in demand, no? During the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, mobile technologies. So this is the emergence of a lot of they call it mobile application developers. So we have different kinds of models. We have the Android, you have the iOS, no? So that's for Apple, and the other one is for the Android, no? So top, you have top 5 that there's actually in demand right now. These are the mobile app developers, mobile app engineers, user experience architect, mobile security systems expert, and game developers. So I got the source, or got this information from mastersinit.org. Okay, so now we move on. 3D printing. 3D jobs on the rise right now, or 3D design. So if you are quite artistic, maybe this is the right profession for you. 3D design, and then you have 3D computer aided design. So CAD, no? This is CAD. This is actually the one that is being used by architects. No, most commonly used right now, because right now when you talk of what's this, coming up with blueprints, or a drawing, no, of a building or of a house, this is now used, no. This is actually very popular right now, the CAD, no. And then research and development, you have biological and scientific modeling, and then you have architecture or construction modeling. So my source is actually businessnewsdaily.com. Okay, advanced robotics, or robotics, I should say. No? So advanced robotics, this pertains to or involves operator interface, mobility or locomotion, manipulation and effectors, and then there is programming, and then of course sensing and perception. So what are the in demand right now, no? When you talk of this particular technology, you have the technical architect for robotics, for process automation. You have business analyst. You have robotic software engineer. You have lead engineer. You have software engineer. You have robotics process automation developer, robotics and cognitive automation, and then of course operations. We talk of robotic or robotic system design. So my source here is actually analyticsinsight.net. So this is quite interesting, because I am into recruitment, and it's very rare that you get to see this. But when you get to see this, it's a high-paying career. No? When you are into robotics, this is actually a fusion of intelligence or artificial intelligence, and you fusing that program to a robot. No? So this, I guess, is going to be one of the most high-paying jobs, because when you talk of robotics, you fuse in a machine that is, self-thinking. Okay, big data analytics. We move forward. Big data and analytics. So there are 2 types of big data technology. No, these are classified into 2 types. No, so let me share to you the first one. No, so the first one is the operational big data technologies. Operational big data is all about the normal day-to-day data that we generate. This could be the online transactions like social media, or the data from particular organization. Ito yung mga ERPs. You have the ERPs, you have these softwares, You have the supply chain. No? ERP means enterprise resource planning software. So these are actually the ones that we use. No, when you talk of uh, computerization of a supply chain process. So these are very common to large companies. No? In particular, we can cite example which is actually SAP, which is one of the most popular ones. No? And you also have Oracle. No? So online shopping, uh, I'm sure everybody loves to shop, no? And with the emergence of the e-commerce, then shopping has actually the dynamics of shopping actually changed, no? The ticket booking, ito, we're if you love traveling, then you would have a full understanding of this, no? And then social media, of course. What more can I say? Top of top of mind would be two letters. That's FB. Okay. Number two, this is the second type. No? This is the analytical big data technology. This is an advanced version of big data technologies. It is a little complex than the operational big data. In short, analytical big data is where the actual performance part comes into the picture, and crucial real-time business decisions are made by analyzing operational big data. Ito yung mga business intelligence type of software. No? So these are the ones that come up with predictions, forecasts based on formulas. No? So formulas, uh, putting in place formulas, deriving the calculations from large data that has been collected or collated all together in a large scale. So you have the stock market, you have weather forecasts. I forgot. No? We have the one that is being used right now in the Philippines, which actually predetermines the weather. No? Then you have the medical. Of course, this is where you have the storage of all the types of sickness and illness, and it serves as a guide for everyone. And also, the one that we use in terms of database, in terms of people, no, who have illness, especially now it is being used especially to track COVID cases globally. No? Space mission, not much of my learning here, but I'm sure when you talk about space learning, these are the applications that are being used, no, or the technology that's being used when one goes out doing space expeditions. No? Okay, four types, just to share, again, in relation to big data and analytics. There are two types, no? Four types, I should say, no? These are data storage. This is where you put, or it's actually a repository of all the data that you wish to collect and collate. Data mining, this is where you categorize and determine, certain areas or categories of data that you collect and collate. Analytics is you try to determine behaviors. Visualization is you try to predict based on all the data that has been collected. And this is actually more on statistical analysis that you will be able to determine what is next. This is a good job and skills that you might want to aspire for as well. No? So top 12, no. So I don't have to say it one by one. You have 12 here. Please take note. So that number one is, of course, big data engineer, and going towards data security engineer. If you notice, the cyber security and big data would somehow have the same job skills and demand, because data security actually is also included in big data and analytics. Okay, Internet of Things. What's IoT? So Internet of Things refers to a system of interrelated, interconnected objects that are able to collect and transfer data over a wireless network without human intervention. So machine-to-machine interface na yan. The Internet of Things, actually, this includes smart surveillance, automated transportation, smarter energy management systems, water distribution, urban security, and environmental monitoring. All are examples of Internet of Things applications for smart cities. So, they are actually putting all together in communication, all together, all the equipment, all the systems, in one city or one place, all together. I forgot to mention, no, my source pala, no? Let me back up a bit. My source for big data is northeastern.edu. So you can take a look at that website also. For my source for IoT and what are increasing demand, this is actually the manufacturer.com. So we have 12 as well. So just take a look at it and take note, no? Because very difficult for me to, of course, explain one by one. In the courtesy of time, of course, we have limited time aspect, so that I would not be able to discuss each and every position that is actually indicated here. Okay, cognitive computing, di ba? Cognitive computing is to stimulate human thought process in a computerized model using self-learning algorithms that use data mining, pattern recognition, and natural language processing. The computer can mimic, no? In result, the computer can mimic the way the human brain works. So, artificial intelligence, in short. No? So, we have 9, and the source is, of course, upgrad.com. So, you have big data engineer. So, it's also indicated here. The big data aspect. You have the BI developer. You have the data scientist. No? The machine learning engineer, research scientist, artificial intelligence data analyst, product manager, artificial intelligence engineer, and robotics scientist. Okay, trends and statistics. So these are the information that will give you somehow, no, on the jobs and professions and trending and statistics, no, what are the industries and also what are the skills, no, that we should look at as we traverse our career. So in demand in the Philippines, as of July 30, you have top 10. Digital marketer, graphic designer, UI designer, front-end web developer, software developer. You have tech and customer support jobs. No? These are actually the BPO jobs. No? Healthcare related jobs. You have data development engineer. You have database manager or administrator, and lastly, the supply chain jobs. Okay, so we got this, or I got this from paymaya.com. So this is as of July 30, 2020. Okay, list of top emerging jobs in the Philippines in 2020 as of March 4, 2020. So we have robotics engineers, the first. Second would be cybersecurity specialist, no? And then you have customer success specialist, followed by data scientist, followed by sales development representative, and followed by number 6 would be full stack engineer. You have DevOps engineer, you have data engineer, you have JavaScript developer, and you have cloud engineer. Everything right now is very, very technology based. No? So again, if you wish to have a lucrative career in the next couple of years, I think right now is the time for you to identify, no, what type of technology you would like to enter into. The world has changed a lot because technology is actually became paramount in terms of its progression, in terms of where it wants to be, no, in terms of our potential jobs in the future. Okay, industries on the other hand, this is for 2021. No? So my source here is actually spot.ph. So you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so these are the top ones. No? If you look at it, the most number of job openings are actually in the BPO industry. So it is actually at 25%, no, of the entire job demand, no, or job opening summary. Then followed by government and defense, which falls under 22.6 or 23%. Then human resource practice, so lean, no, we are still, of course, in demand. No? The human resource management profession and consulting, no, falls under 13.6 or about 14%. For education, this is still around, no? Because education did not die. It is only the face-to-face education that has died because there is a new platform in terms of learning. No? So you have 11%, 10.6. Then you have computer and IT software, which falls under 6.6 or 7%. No? Other specializations, so it's a majority of all. You have 4.6, and also for retail, still 4.6. You have manufacturing, still 4.6. Healthcare and bank at 4.6. And then also, and lastly, I should say, banking and financial services. So these right now are the trends now in terms of the industries where there is actually a lot of job openings. I'm not saying that you choose where the jobs are, where the job openings no are plenty, but you choose no what are the industries that you should take into account coming from this statistical presentation of graphs where there are existing requirements. Okay, we're now on our third part, no? So COVID pandemic and its effects on career options. So there are three subtitles or subtopics here that I'd like to share. Number one, accelerating the digital disruption, no? And number two, changing the employment landscape. Number three, traversing the new employment landscape. Okay, when COVID happened early last year, no, uh, the digital disruption actually started in the probably late 2018 or 2019. No? So it is actually the beginning of digitization. No? So what is digitization? No? This is when people has transitioned from the usual analog activities into the digital world. No? So digitization has stepped into bridging the gaps left by mandated shutdowns and social distancing measures. Without digital tools and technologies, we could have no way to work, shop, go to school, and many more others. No? So, what did COVID-19 do? It has actually accelerated things in terms of digitization. So, if you notice, uh, the activities right now has lessened the human interface, the face door, what's called F2F. It has actually lessened it, and more people adapt to a digital approach in terms of their activities. There is the existence of work from home, with the contactless or social distancing principle. A lot of companies have actually opted for work from home activities. When you talk of shopping, e-commerce, a lot of e-commerce sites have actually came about. There are a lot of shopping malls that are actually online. There are a lot of platforms that uses online as an avenue to sell. No? FB Market for one, no? Is also an e-commerce activity. Then you have e-learning. No? This is what I shared earlier, that the education industry or the education per se, no? The learning activity has changed a lot. Of course, students are no longer or cannot, no, because of this COVID, cannot do face to face or the traditional way of learning where there is a professor or a teacher in front of you and you have classmates. So everything now is done via online. So people or schools teach through the online approach, no? And little by little there is an appreciation already. But during the onset in sometime in March, so everyone was at a loss. But right now, everyone has adapted to it because they believe that it can be done by way of a digital approach. You have digital marketing, so a lot of marketing activities left and right. You see them, no, via your social media. You see them via your internet, no. You see them via websites. All actually has actually all has actually become I should say more adaptive to doing digital marketing. So the emergence of a lot of websites has actually popped up. It's, uh, you know cropped up, I should say. So the chatbots. Before we used to talk to people, but right now we we talk to an app, right? So you want to follow up on certain things, then you talk to a chatbot. Then the social media, you have several, no? You have Facebook, Instagram, so on and so forth. No? Then cloud computing. So everything now can be done via cloud. You don't have to buy your own servers. You can just actually purchase a space in the cloud. No? Then online payments. No? Payments utilizing online schemes, like Grab Pay, or you talk of what else, no? Paymaya or PayPal. You'll get to see that later. Okay. Accelerating in continuous the emergence of digital platform-based businesses. So in Korea alone, these are actually only in the Philippines. I don't know elsewhere. These are the ones that are more popular right now. You have Cash, you have Grab, you have Lalamove, Transportify, Ninja, and Mr. Speedy. In fact, there's a new one, which is TokTok. Then next is the e-commerce. No, this is where the shopping is being done. This is where online activities, where you want, when you wish to buy, you just go to this sites, no, or this uh, online malls. No, you have Shopee, you have Lazada, you have Zalora, you have Carousel, you have eBay, you have Alibaba, and Amazon. So after shopping, of course, you make payments. You utilize online payments like GCash, Paymaya, GrabPay, PayPal, and Coins.ph. These are the ones that are more popular. I cannot put everything in one slide, but you get to see what is happening right now. In the recent past, probably about 2, 3, or even 5 years back, you don't get to see this. Grab actually started, no, when Uber came into play, but Uber is no longer here. So Grab actually, this now is what you call the transport service. No, initially Uber was there, and then eventually Grab came in, and then Uber stepped out. And this is now, what is happening, not only in the courier but also in the transport service. Virtual meeting platforms. You have Zoom. The more popular one is Zoom, no, because they were the first one to be able to probably uh, launch, no, their application, and everybody is using this. And the buzzword right now is, when you do digital meeting, the term is Zoom meeting. You don't get to talk to someone and tell, oh, let's do Google Meet. But anyway, where I'm coming from is that the virtual meeting platforms has actually uh, increased. No, you have Zoom, you have Google Meet, you have Microsoft Teams, you have GoToMeetings, and you have what's this? Skype, and what's this stream? I'm not quite familiar with with this duck face, but StreamYard, I would say, and then FaceTime. So all of this came about when the COVID actually started, because people now would like, with their interest to continue business, doing business talks, etc., etc. This came about. Before, I recall, when we were doing recruitment from a foreign client, we have to pay 5,000 just for these two to meet. No, client from abroad, a candidate here. Then we rent a place where they can do this. But right now, it's just a click away. There's a free platform. There's a platform that would require payments. There are plans. So it evolved. No, the situation now is very different when you want meetings, because it can be done. No? So we can talk to anyone, anywhere in the world. Digital communication apps became, this also emerged. No? This became popular. So the mobile SMS has actually changed. No? Majority of us are using now the data, utilizing data, because it's cheaper to talk to someone using the data. So you have Viber, you have WhatsApp, you have Telegram, you have Facebook Messenger. And then the mobile banking, no? These are just a couple of examples. The mobile banking has actually somehow, no, made things more convenient to businessmen like us. No? So when you wish to pay a supplier, you utilize the mobile apps. If you want to transfer funds from one bank to the next, then the mobile banking can be utilized. No? So again, it rides on technology. It rides on Internet of Things. It rides on connectivity. So everything has changed a lot, and this is what I'm talking about: the acceleration of the digital disruption. Why? Because a lot of things right now can be operated and can be done by the use of technology, or otherwise known as connectivity. Okay, changing the employment landscape. Of course, because of the digitization, the landscape of employment also has changed. Let me just read this. No? The upheaval in global labor markets triggered by the coronavirus pandemic will transform the working lives of millions of employees for good. Hindi lang to sinasabi. We're not only saying this as a temporary situation. This is going to be for good because the old normal, no, cannot be returned anymore. All is already geared towards the digital, contactless industries that will define the new normal. So the beginning of the new normal happened when COVID, our friendly visitor, Mr. COVID, has arrived last year as early as January. So reliance on digital solutions during COVID. This is now what we are talking about when you talk of the landscape. Because of these digital solutions, the employment demands and the landscape of how job demands will be premised on these items that I will be discussing. Number one, remote work. No? So high performance of the working population now is in the remote mode. So digital collaboration is improving in leaps and bounds, both in terms of the sophistication of tools to and facilitate it and workers' level of comfort with it. Omni-channel commerce, no? It will not stop from the ones that I have presented. This pertains to our e-commerce. This pertains to our online shopping malls. No? Consumers are turning to online shopping to meet their needs. Grocery delivery services such as Instacart have been in high demand. Businesses are blending the physical and digital to provide for their customers through delivery methods such as curbside pickup and contactless delivery. Physical and digital integration is more important now than ever. It changed actually the dynamics of how we wish to buy all our needs. Some people who still opt to go inside, no, or on-site supermarkets, but actually little by little, as we grasp, no, this new landscape in the digital world, the appreciation of doing online has become actually a more appreciated approach. Digital content consumption, this is the third. No? So consumers are turning to digital content providers to meet their entertainment needs. Internet users worldwide are watching more shows on streaming services due to coronavirus. No? Many film studios have been pushing new releases to streaming services early to captive audiences. So, need I say more? You have Netflix, the most popular nowadays. You have uh, Prime. You also have HBO Go and so on and so forth. YouTube is also one of the digital content consumption technology. No? So little by little, we are now, going towards utilization of this technology rather than going inside movie houses. We stay at the comforts of our home where we would feel safer, and it's more practical just sitting down and turning on your widescreen TV. Platformication, or what? Platformification, I should say. Another technology that is actually emerging right now. So organizations of all types are trying out digital platforms to stay above water during the pandemic. Fitness industry has shifted to holding virtual classes on streaming services, both live and pre-recorded. So not to explain further, we're actually using right now as we speak. We're using this platform, which is StreamYard. It's a digital platform by the use of a technology called the StreamYard, and so on and so forth. These are the ones that are mostly used for e-learning. You have webinars. These are the new words even that came about when you talk of COVID. Before we only have seminars, but right now we have webinars. Before we only have face-to-face learning. Now we have that letter E up front. E before the learning, so it becomes e-learning. Digital health solutions. Healthcare system has gone digital to alleviate some of the strain imposed by the coronavirus. Telemedicine and remote diagnostics are helping patients get medical advice and diagnosis at home so they don't need to come into the doctor's office or hospital. And 3D printing is being used to expedite the production of critical medical supplies. In short, no, the health strategy or the health scheme before, when you talk of, having your checkup, acquiring information about your sickness or illness, it has actually now crossed the border of how it was done before into a more digitized or digitalized approach. Okay. Third, traversing the new employment landscape. No? So setting sights on COVID-19, skills and career options. This is where you should now focus on. I provided you some information on the demands, no, as a result of the industrial or the fourth industrial revolution. I have given you a glimpse of that. And also I've provided you what are the emerging industries, what are the activities that has happened during the acceleration of the digitization. Now, let us set sights on the skills and career options. 2021 industry outlook. Which roles will be most in demand? This is a foresight. This is a forecast. No? So, as I got this, when I did my research, this came from business.linkedin.com. So, strong demand in web development and engineering roles related to companies' digital transformation initiatives. As businesses adopt policies that will keep employees working remotely and customers spending their paychecks online well beyond the end of the pandemic. So this is actually, we're not yet done with the pandemic. We're not yet done with COVID. So as a forecast, as I did my research, even the vaccine is in place, we will not go back to the old normal, but rather move forward. And this, actually, the COVID situation will still be hounding us in the next 2 or 3 or even 4 years. God forbid, of course. No? So you have top 10 that was actually prescribed by LinkedIn. These are software engineers, registered nurse. So there are a lot of works for nurses, even online. No? In fact, my company provides nurses, no, for certain clients in the health maintenance organization industry. No? Salesperson, of course, sales would always be there. Selling can be done online through digital marketing strategies. Project manager, of course, implementation of technology can be done in the absence of a project manager. Food delivery drivers, of course, we need someone to deliver our online orders. So this will still be around. Full stack engineers. So, of course, you talk of technology, this would be critical and would be considered as one of a very good career to enter into. You talk of full stack development. Animal groomer, of course, people would love, for the longest time, people love pets. So there are online, or there are businesses that are into animal grooming, and online you can tap them, and then on site they groom your pets. But I'm not saying that this is lucrative, but this is a demand. No? JavaScript developers, this is actually tied up with full stack developer or full stack development, and even software engineers. No? DevOps, this is a combination of course, software and IT infra. This is something good because you're talking here of the entire infrastructure. You're not talking only alone of a software activity, but also, designing a network infrastructure where you put the software. So it involves the NW, it involves the HW, and it involves the SW. So alam nyo na yon, no? Interpret nyo na lang yung HW, NW, and the SW. Account manager, of course, this has two meanings. Account manager can be what you call someone who does the selling or someone who manages an account to provide after-sales support, or managing an account to ensure that the delivery of services are attained. Okay? Next, okay, in-demand technical skills that can boost your career during this year and beyond. No? So I've shared this earlier in my first slides. You talk of the fourth industrial revolution. Again, now when you talk of 2021, when you talk of the current employment landscape, watch out for these technical skills. You have cybersecurity, you have cloud computing, you have DevOps, no? You have artificial intelligence and machine learning, augmented reality, you have virtual reality, you have full stack development, and you have blockchain. Okay, now this is now a thing that you should watch out. These are the top 15 jobs most likely to vanish. Wag naman sana, because these people would of course suffer, no? But of course, no, this is actually a forecast, and my reference was actually salary.com, no? So these are the 15 positions that will be potentially obsolesced, no? You have the restaurant staff, you have theater staff, staff work for leisure places, real estate agent, professional sports staff, zoo staff, travel industry staff, employees of export and trading companies, hotel staff, movie and TV staff, construction company staff, aviation corporation staff, staff or large amusement park, oil company employees, and large shopping mall staff. These are all forecasts. No, what I'm sharing here is just, this is actually a forecast that this might vanish. But of course, when things get better and we go back to not the new normal, but a better normal after the new normal, I hope that, things wherein face-to-face activities would still happen. So these positions would not be considered obsolete. Okay, food for thought. We're now on the final part of my discussion. No? So we have three things that I would like to share. No? If you are still young and would like to build a career, you know, take note of this food for thought, because, I've practiced it and have somehow actually gained the rewards of practicing this principle. So take note, this is very critical, because if you want to rise to your career ladders, you should take note of this. Okay, passion is the beginning of success. This is actually shared by Robert Kiyosaki, who's a successful person that ventured into real estate leasing business, no? And also is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So what does this mean? Knowing your passion will determine the best career that suits you. Enter into something you love and enjoy doing, and it is most likely that you will be able to grow your career. Do this, and you will never have to spend a day in the office. When you're passionate of what you do, this is something that comes from the heart. And you don't mind what you will get to be exposed to in terms of job demands, because this is your passion, and this is something that you would love to do, not only on a day-to-day basis, but for the longest period of time possible. Just like in my case, I love HR, and up to now, imagine almost 30 years doing HR, I still love it, because it's in my bloodstream, and it's something that I love doing. And I will die practicing my human resource profession. Okay, we talk about money. Of course, sabi nila, money is not everything. It is the only thing. But joking aside, no, money is a residual effect of hard work. When hard work, perseverance, and dedication is noticed, it shall be rewarded greatly. What am I sharing to you right now? Do not put money as your motivation. Put the job that you do as your motivation, and then the money would follow suit. Why? Because if your stakeholders would notice your impeccable performance, now, impeccable, when you say impeccable, it goes beyond good, it goes beyond best. When you say impeccable, it's above everything else. When that is noticed by your stakeholders, definitely you will be rewarded. When you rise to the ladder, of course, money goes with it. Work hard, stay disciplined, and be patient. Your time will come. Simple analogy. Imagine yourself, piling on that peak, and eventually you will hit the goal. In terms of career management, just do what needs to be done. Do it best, especially if you love what you're doing. Do it at your best all the time. And definitely thereafter, money will follow suit. Okay? So to complement, so passion and money, know your passion and work hard in harnessing that passion. Thereafter, of course, the rewards will follow. So I just posted these two images. No, you can create money from your passion, but you can't create passion from your money. So it is always passion at first. Average people earn money doing things they don't love. Rich people follow their passion. So it's your choice. So I invite everyone to practice these principles, no, in accordance to the career that you wish to enter into, and I'm sure you will be successful when you find, that career that you wish to actually venture or take journey to. Okay, so with that, I end my session. So it's now time for us to have that Q&A. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have gathered some, insights that you wish to put in your heart and practice it and bring it home to your respective jobs. So thank you. So Miss Lynn, if there are any questions, we can fire away. I can, of course, put down the slides already so I get to see, the participants probably, or of course, Sir Gel and Sir Sam, no? So, yon, thank you. Lynn, I can't hear you. There's no sound.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. I was on mute. So before we proceed with the Q&A, we're going to take a very quick break, and then we be going back for the Q&A. All right. So
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enabling Media, enabling content through new media. Previously on Lods.
How are you?
We got to know more about Belle,
So good to see you again. And hello to everyone. Good
how she
morning
conquered the
to
biggest names in the
everybody.
tech industry,
Remember, like I was doing interviews like at Facebook then, like, and I saw a job ad on LinkedIn for a PR manager at Spotify, and because like music has been such a big part of my life growing up, music and writing in particular. And so I've been watching Spotify like since they've been, like launched globally. And I was very, very curious about when they would be available in Asia. So when
what
I
kept her
when I
going
was
against all odds.
and so like from then on, like as the eldest person in the family, I've had to assume like a more like grown up, album, right? Like I had to grow up overnight.
Watch the full episode on our YouTube channel or stream the podcast version on Spotify. This and other inspiring stories and learning events only here on Enabling Media, enabling content through new media. This is Enabling Media, enabling content through new media.
We all know what community is, but what does community feel like? It's the feeling you get watching the magpie family in your front yard patiently wait for you to bring them a snack. It's the feeling you get watching the kangaroos huddle together under the tree in your backyard. And it's the feeling you get seeing the flock of galahs play in the gum tree on your morning drive to work. But community is much more than a feeling. It's the way us Australians work together through thick and thin. Being a community means being Australian. At Guild, we're here for some of your toughest days. We're here through the fires and then through the floods. We're here through the break-ins, the accidents and the mishaps. We're more than just an insurance company. We're the people you call when it's all gone wrong. You're part of our community, our family, and we look forward to protecting you, not only now, but into the future. Guild Insurance, where community is what matters most.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enabling Media, enabling content through new media.
And we're back. We surely had a very insightful talk with Sir Froilan. So, in summary, Sir Froilan talked about the Industrial Revolution and how technology has characterized each. He also talked about the top demanded job and skills during the present time and how the pandemic has affected the way we do things. That is accelerating the digital economy. And lastly, he discussed how we can transverse the new employment landscape. Very awesome. Okay, so now for the request for the certificate of attendance, the portal is now open for our viewers in the Philippines who would like to request a certificate of attendance. So just go to bit.ly/GSI Conference 21 and enter the information requested by the form. It's now flash on our screen. And please be sure to provide your correct full name and email addresses, and also provide the correct answers to the questions. So we will not. So the incorrect answers will not be considered invalid. And let's see now how our social media is doing before we proceed to our question and answer. All right. So from Harleen Gabriel, she says that was very informative. Thank you, sir. We agree, Jasmine. And now with it's from Jasmine Fondales Santos. Congratulations. Thank you very much, sir, for your comprehensive discussion. And from Balvinder Singh, so we have a viewer also from overseas. Great session. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing valuable information. Another one from Charisse Sauza Heruta. Thank you so much, sir. That was a very enlightening talk. Good feedback, right? Sir Polly, our viewers have
Yeah,
been very appreciative of your talk.
yeah. Thank you for all those comments. No, I'm flattered.
hmm And now we can, I think, about for the interest of time, we can now start with our Q&A. I believe we have a very interesting questions from our viewers and moderators. So are you ready, Sir Froilan?
Sure.
Okay, so our first question is, hold on. Our first question is from CJ Caparas, and the question is how to stay motivated, especially in the middle of pandemic.
Okay. Very interesting question. Because, of course, motivation comes from. Can I answer already?
Sure, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, of course, I cannot perfectly provide you the best answer, but I can only give you an insight of how to address motivation. I always believe in the saying, happiness is a choice. No? So when you say happiness is a choice, if you choose to be happy, then that would dictate your motivation. So how to do that? There are a lot of activities that could keep you sane. No? When I say keep you sane, these are the things that you love and enjoy doing. And these are the things that would motivate you to move forward. Of course, the crisis is there. Everybody is actually afraid of, going out because of a uh, potential incident that you might contract the disease, no, or the virus. But of course, to avert that, no, number one, you keep your safeguards high, and number two, to constantly motivate you, try to learn. What you're doing right now is actually a learning exercise, and this would dictate somehow how you would view things by way of the learnings that you gather from all the sessions that you might want to enter into or attend to, especially if it is aligned to the interest that you have, no? In terms of your profession, probably, or in particular, the one that I've shared. Learning about what your passion is. When you discover that, then harness that. If you're, if you have a job, then focus on the job and make sure that you deliver what is expected of you. And then when that is noticed and you're given a tap on the back or a pat on the back, that is enough motivation, I guess. So again, how we see things is inert upon ourselves. How we see our happiness to be is inert upon ourselves. So my best advice is that, no? If you, in particular to your situation, uh, focus your energies not on the crisis, but on what you can do in terms of building up your skills, competencies, and capabilities. Learn. I hope that is
Great.
okay. Yeah.
Learning is one of the keys. So another question from Miko Cabral. In your opinion, as an HR professional, what traits or characters our young generation must possess in applying a job given applying a job given the social changes and digital transformation?
Okay. The approach, the traits remain the same. It is only the approach as to how you will be able to get the job. Because before we do face to face, now it has converted to a digital strategy. Okay, where am I coming from? The traits that you need has to be in place and intact. And what is this? Discipline and patience. Discipline and patience will actually help you. Discipline, as I share to everyone, it dictates control and restraint. Patience, on the other hand, would allow you to somehow stretch a bit, no? Stretch a bit on the waiting aspect because nothing is instant. In the digital world, what would only change is the manner by which you would be interviewed. But the interview process is the same. It is only in a digital platform. So what am I saying? To land that job, number one, no, you have to have that discipline. You don't run. If you don't get the first job or the first interview, try again. So that will dictate the discipline. and the patience thereafter. You just wait. As I shared earlier, your time will come. But you have to make sure that you present yourself in such a way that people would view you as a potential valuable asset in their organization. And the key things that they would look at is discipline, patience, and most importantly pala, I'd like to add attitude. Let me quote a saying that was, I love this. This is actually shared by one of the most popular motivational speaker. Uh, uh, it is not it is attitude, not aptitude, that determines altitude. That is Zig Ziglar. So I'm sure you can somehow pick up some important things in terms of your job hunting. No, the interview results is dependent on how you present yourself in terms of your attitude. But of course, the components of being able to land a job comes from the discipline and patience.
Thank you. So for the students watching us, bear in mind, attitude is is on top of the list of the greatest attributes that you need to possess in getting into a job. All right. So I think this will be our last question for now, Sir Polly. So the question is from Diana Felipe. With regards to what was said earlier, average people follow money even though they do not love what their job is, which rich people follow their passion and earn money through it. Should we still follow our passion over good salary, especially if you do not have any choice because you are the family's breadwinner? Wow.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very good question. Well, Diana, no, I love the question because I came from your situation myself. No, let me just share to you that I was a service crew before uh, from a popular burger chain. No? Not the local one. But anyway, let me share to you my insight on that. No? Getting rich is not instant. Getting rich, no, please take note, getting rich is not instant. It requires time. If you're building a career, if you're building a career, then it requires time as well because you don't get to be promoted instantly. Now, pertaining to passion, when you enter into a job, you can discover a passion, right? Say, for example, you talk about my experience because this is the best example that I could share. No? I came from a fast food chain activity working as a service crew. What did I discover there? I discovered and learned customer service. Okay, that was along the way. So now customer service was embedded in my heart. Then I ventured into landing accidentally a job in recruitment, which I discovered as my passion. Talking about the customer service experience, it has complemented my passion into loving the HR profession. I did not start as an HR person. I started as a service crew. But what did I learn from being a service crew? That's the customer service. That is an experience and a competency. But when I entered into the HR practice, in particular doing recruitment, I discovered my passion of loving HR as a practice. And that passion was complemented by my exposure to customer service, which I gained from a fast food chain. So moving forward, after 13 years, I decided to eventually set up my own business. But during that 13 years, the passion was there. I learned the tricks of the trade of HR, all the facets, from day one of my experience in recruitment going towards where I am right now. So it was filled. I climbed the ladder, as I shared earlier, work. I discovered the passion. Then I worked very hard, and eventually, you know, I was noticed and I was rewarded by way of giving me promotions on a periodic basis until I reached the top position in the HR field. So going back to your question, it doesn't follow that yes, you are the breadwinner and it ends there. You have a job. Try to determine the learnings that you will be absorbing and gaining from that particular experience. And then use that. No? You say, for example, You discovered your passion already, probably doing that job or beyond that job, and then build your career upwards. Do not think of it as something that you're in a dead end situation. Let me share you this simple line. No? If you think you can, you will. If you think you cannot, definitely you won't. What does that mean? When you are in that particular position, try to find your passion. And then when you discover that, use that to your advantage. And then ponder on, trying to visualize a potential career for you. Maybe you are a rank and file right now, but it doesn't end there, because if you discovered your passion and you build your way up, then you will reach the highest position in that department. It's all about, discovering that passion. It's all about having the right attitude towards the work that you do. Okay?
Thank you. Yep.
So
Thank you.
I hope, I was able to share some insights on this lady. I would love to coach her further, because I could share a lot of stories, because, Lynn, you've known me for the longest time. And I rose from the ranks myself. I wasn't born rich. Can I share a line of my, one of the things that Bill Gates has shared? Maybe this
Go
could
ahead,
help.
sir. Go ahead.
You know, if you were born poor, it is not your fault. But when you die poor, it is your fault. Because in between your birth to the time that you die, there is a journey. And in between that journey, you do your stuff and build something out of your life. You see, that is the journey of how to become successful in whatever profession that you do. So I hope that, is something that could be appreciated by our, our guest that asked the question.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So
Okay,
we
thank
have
you.
this that one last question
Okay.
from Yula Ebias, and the question is, "Good afternoon. Hi. Since this pandemic poses economic uncertainties and costs a lot of people their career, how will a newly grad compete and be relevant against those who have experiences?"
Okay, I would categorize that as a fantastic question.
Oh,
Uh, do not think that you are lesser than anyone else. You have to believe in your capacities, whether you're a fresh grad or, a graduate of whatever course from whatever school. Remember, the best person that could sell himself is himself. If you do not believe yourself, how can you sell yourself to a potential employer? Just remember this, the attitude plays a lot more as compared to, of course, whatever experience others may have. They might have something, ahead of you, but they don't have something, in terms of your capacities that you know of. Because, when you talk of building a career and you talk of landing a job, it is always about how you would convey your capabilities to your target employer. If you don't have a job, then send me your resume. Then maybe I can help you. It's as simple as
oh,
that.
yes.
Just continue your journey of job hunting. That is now where the patience come into play. Nothing is instant, especially in this pandemic, especially in this crisis we're in. I know it is important to have a job, but how to do that? Then you have to take action. It is not the job that would go to you or come to you. It is you that should come to the job. Remember that. Maybe this is your lucky time because, I'm in need of some, clerks in my office or in my clients. So you can get my email address. I don't know how you can share that. Or if there would be someone interested, I would like to share my email address. Would that be fine, Ma'am Lynn? Or that is too
Yes.
much of asking?
No, no, no.
Okay.
We can do that for you, sir. For the so at least we can assist, or we can help those who are still looking for jobs. Maybe something will fit into your requirement.
Yes. Please do share my email address, and then I will be more than willing to help you. maybe, the right thing to do is actually look at where the jobs are. Sometimes we say that we cannot find a job because we are not looking for the jobs. There are a lot of job opportunities right now, especially in this pandemic situation. All you have to do is to ensure that you are confident enough to sell yourself. Because if the insecurities would come up front, nobody will be attracted to you. That's how it is. It's not about how good we talk in English or how good we speak in English. It is how we present ourselves as a package. Our name is our brand, but the product is the person behind that name. So you sell that beyond the brand. I may be Froilan Florendo. I have a brand. But if the person, diba, behind that brand will not be able to convey the benefits of hiring that particular person, then there is no way that he or she could land the job. I hope I'm making sense. No?
Yes.
Because that's the way it is. No? And employers would look at personalities. People or employees would look at the attitude. The education aspect comes secondary. I've known a lot of successful people who are not coming from those blue chip schools, but of course, it's always an added advantage. And even if you talk of experience, no, some would not. They may have the experience, but they are job hoppers. So what's the point? I'd rather have a fresh grad and hone this person into becoming what I want this person to be, rather than get someone who would present to present himself to us that, okay, I have 5 years experience, but out of that 5 years experience, there are 10 employers. My God, that's every 6 months he jumps from one job to another.
Yes.
It's not
Thank you.
attractive.
Yes, thank you for that, sir. That's very helpful to other. We have a lot of students watching us right now, so it will be very helpful insight from you. So we apologize for the questions that are left unanswered because we don't have any. We are time constrained as of the moment, and we are over 30 minutes over time because this has been a very interesting talk from Mr. Florendo, and we are very we are very happy, and it has been a pleasure having you here on the show, and I hope you enjoyed your time with us as much as we loved having you here. So it's really a great honor. So
Thank you.
Thank
Indeed,
you.
it's a great experience.
Yep. Thank you. Wag kang madadala. Hope we can still invite you in some other time.
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm just a message away.
Oh,
Just
I
let
know
me know,
that.
and then I'll be there for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks to all of you for joining us today. So next week, this show will be made available as podcast on our official channel on Spotify. And some few announcement on Tuesday, April 13, Jel Nolasco, Guild Solutions Vice President and COO, will be sharing with us ideas and insights on presenting during this age of virtual presence. So catch it live here on our social media channels, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So stay tuned. On behalf of our team, our executive producer and creative director, Jel Nolasco, our director, Sam Sotare, our social media moderators, Kim, Malan, Micah, Pancho, and JC. Again, my name is Lynn, and this is Enabling Media, enabling content through new media. Maraming salamat po.
This year's GSI Conference is brought to you by HR Network, Guild Solutions Inc., and Enabling Media, enabling content through new media.